Maybe because life has changed since the last time you looked at this. The kids are now older. There probably has been some life events that changed the dynamics in your house. Maybe it's time to revisit the workload distribution at home and see where, if everything was falling on you, to hopefully maybe distributing it out to other people or sharing the load with your spouse and or the kids.
Parenthood is challenging enough as it is, and getting organized sounds easier said than done. Now, combine these two together, and it's truly a balancing act that many of us struggle with day in, day out. If you're here, it's because you want to know how to get your life and home more organized and structured where the kids are involved too, so that parent life is a little easier and you can focus on what truly matters. Hey there, I'm Diane Jimenez, owner and founder of One Tidy Place. I created this podcast because I know parents have their hands full. I know this because I have 3 kids of my own. Each week, we'll talk about all things organizing, teaching kids life skills, and contributing to the home, being on the same page with your partner, and raising your kids together while you tidy up, go out for a walk, or just need some real talk. I'm here for you. Thank you for tuning in. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Welcome back to another episode of the Organized-ish Parent Podcast, and you're listening to episode number 77. So the topic for today is a touchy one, I want to say, because it involves the parents raising the kids and household chores. So today I'm going to be listing the 10 problems that moms face when there is no communication when it comes to raising capable kids and household chores. So listen well, take notes if you need to, and I hope you get a lot of takeaways and enjoy this episode. So here we go. Now, before we start, in case you're new here, welcome and thank you so much for finding this podcast and pressing play. My name is Diane Jimenez. I'm a professional organizer and a coach for moms, where I help moms get organized and structure their home life so that everyone is helping out and they have more time to focus on what they really want to do or need to focus on. So thank you again for being here. Now let's get started. All right, so the next 10 things that I'll be listing here is in no particular order, probably one of the more popular ones. And for sure, there are many more out there that are similar to this list, but these are the ones for now. So the first problems that moms can encounter when there is no communication about raising the kids or how to raise the kids and the household maintenance, that is constant disagreements about parenting. Now, if you're always arguing or you find yourself butting heads a lot about how the kids are doing things or what they're doing, this is a result of no communication. Number 2 is mixed messages to the kids. Now, like number 1, if you guys are always arguing and don't see things eye to eye or on the same page about certain things that need to get done around the house or the way kids are doing things or what they need to do around the house, then they're going to get mixed messages. And it's highly possible that they'll just end up doing whatever it is that they want, like doing the easiest thing or not doing the things at all. Number 3, kids will always play to the parent that is the nicest or the easiest. So I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode before, that humans will always go towards the path with least resistance. So if one parent is more lenient, fun, or not really pressing on the rules, whereas the other one is more adamant about it, or I guess more vocal about it, well, guess what? That kid or those kids will more likely lean towards the easier path. So that's why it's important for you guys to get on the same page and communicate. So moving on to number 4 of the 10 problems that moms typically face when there's no communication about parenting or the household chores, and that is having uneven workload at home. Now, every house is different, and the way you guys all function is completely different from my house, our neighbor's house, and other people, right? So what we do at our house, because I'm home more and we decided that I'm going to be taking care of the kids and being there for them for whatever it is that they need, AKA being the primary parent to them, my husband is the one that it just made sense. He has his own business, his company was already established and also makes a larger income. So, to lessen the stress on myself for trying to balance a job and the kids and everything else, we both decided 15 years ago that I would be staying home and being the primary parent. So naturally, that falls with doing a lot more stuff in the house to maintain it. Now, I'm not saying that my husband isn't doing anything at all. That's further from the truth. Basically, he helps a lot in so many areas, especially with the groceries and handling that, and also making sure that we have something to eat every night for supper. So yes, I will go in there if, I have to cook something because our schedules just are just too wild, then I will take that role, but he is probably, I'd say 85% the one making the dinners and making sure that we're okay. So there's a lot of balance in that. And also, he takes care of a lot of the outdoor stuff, which I don't really touch, and any kind of fixing that the house needs that we break or whatever. He's a great problem solver, so he does all of the fixing for that. Whenever there's a problem, he's the handyman. So that's his role there. So in your case, you kind of need to look at it and see, where do these roles in the house land? Is it one-sided? Is it pretty much split evenly? What is it? Also, perhaps maybe because life has changed since the last time you looked at this. The kids are now older. There probably has been some life events that changed the dynamics in your house. Maybe it's time to revisit the workload distribution at home and see where, if everything was falling on you, to hopefully maybe distributing it out to other people or sharing the load with your spouse and or the kids. But bottom line is, it has to make sense for the both of you, and it's not just one-sided all the time. So moving on to problem number 5, which ties into the uneven workload, and I feel like a lot of moms will probably feel this too, and they just don't say it, is there is a buildup of resentment between the partners because of the uneven workload and just basically not really communicating. And sometimes when you do feel resentment, it's because you're always feeling like you're doing everything yourself and you feel alone in this. I gotta tell you, I saw this meme a couple of days ago and it kind of made me not really laugh initially, but it was kind of like, hmm, that sucks. And for sure, it was meant to be funny and stuff, but some people might not have taken it in that way. It was basically this couple was getting out of their car, and I think the wife was on the driver's side because she was opening up the back seat to get her kids out, and she had a backpack or this large bag on her shoulder, and then she was getting a toddler from a car seat, and then she ends up tripping over the kid that she took out first, who was walking around. She ended up backing up and tripping over that kid, and then all of them falling and collapsing onto the floor. Where at the same time, the husband was just coming around the corner with his, like, oblivious basically, with his hands on his phone and texting or something, walking around the car, completely oblivious of what just happened. And it was the hook or the line at the bottom was saying something like, situations when you're married and also a single mother. So take that as you want to, but part of me was like felt bad, and there was some kind of like, that sucks because there's some truth to it, right? Even though it's meant to be funny. So if that happens a lot, I guess, in people's homes where the wife feels like a single mom, it's inevitable that maybe some resentment might build up, and that feeling of loneliness can also start creeping into. So that's not good. Number 6, missed opportunities for teaching kids about responsibility. Now, this is huge, especially if there is no communication about it, how to raise the kids and teach them different things. The opportunities can completely fly by us. Now, an example here is I had a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and they're telling me that now they have adult kids and they're kind of feeling not sorry, but kind of overwhelmed or freaked out because they don't know how their kids are going to survive, because their kid was always contacting them for everything and they didn't know how to do things as adults, like simple things like ordering this or that, or using the phone to call them, right? So that opened up the conversation to the other friends that I was with about, do our kids even know our phone numbers, or a phone number that's different from ours? Do you even know your kids' cell phone numbers, for instance, right? So these are things that can happen when there's no communication about household chores and raising kids with your spouse. Number 7 is there's no clear household system. Again, this goes back to when it's always one person who's maintaining the home, whereas the other person is coming in and, you know, clueless of where things are. When you start delegating and giving chores to people, if there's no system and there's things all over the place or there's clutter everywhere, well, it's very difficult for people to help out. They don't know where things go because there is no system as to where things go and what happens to them next, right? So that's huge if there's no communication. Next one, number 8, which ties into that, is the kids get confused as to what the expectations are. So this ties into the number 2, I believe, where the kids are confused and they tend to lean towards the parent with like the lax type of attitude towards the house. Well, if there are 2 rules about everything and 2 methods about things, the kids will not know how to do things correctly or logically, and they will either take the method that is the easiest, do it completely wrong, or they just won't do it at all. And in the end, that ends up frustrating you. Okay, so we're almost done here. We're at the end. Number 9, it's the erosion of respect between the parents. And I find that very sad because it's completely avoidable by just communicating, having conversations, checking in, and laying things out on the table. So this erosion of the relationship can lead to emotional distance between you guys. And the sad part is that this is the model that you're showing the kids about relationships. And it's not good because they'll tend to just not be in relationships or want to be in relationships because you guys are distant, arguing, not on the same page, or they're going to end up looking for relationships that are like that because that's all they know. So, in the end, what message are you giving out to your kids? All right, finally, number 10 of the 10 problems moms will face when there is no communication about parenting and household chores. Number 10 is lack of teamwork for daily routine. Now, going back to the kids, what they take with them into adulthood is what they learned at home, at your house. So if teamwork is not part of their everyday, or they're not exposed to it by the 2 role models in their house, well, that won't really be helpful for them when they go out into the world, when they're in school or at a job where group work might be involved, right? They won't really know how to function as a team that's not sports related, for instance, if they've been in team sports. So maybe that will save them because they've been in sports like that in a team setting. But especially if they're waking up to this environment where the parents aren't always on the same page and they're not helping each other, that's kind of like the recipe they know, and bring that into the future with them. So I know this was 10. I'm going to give you a bonus one. And then mentioned a couple of times in the 10, when there's no communication with their partner about household chores and raising kids, is increased stress for herself, which results in increased stress in the household. Because whatever one person will feel, and especially if it's the mom, she's running the show and she feels all the feels, well, guess what? Everybody will feel it The kids will be living in it, waking up to it, and going to bed in it. And that's not a very healthy environment for anyone. So, if you related to any of this, even just one thing of the 11 things that I've just mentioned now, here are a couple of things that you can do to change things around. And I've mentioned it earlier, but just to emphasize it here at the end, that is one, write down the ones that you felt something for, that struck a chord with you. Write those down. Now, if you have to listen to this list again, go ahead, do that. Number two is to bring this list into a conversation with your partner or your spouse and put it through the lens of, this is what I've been observing in the last few months, few years, whatever. What do you think? Do you see the same things that I'm seeing? Do you feel the same things that I'm feeling? Now, it's important to do this where it's just you and them. That's it. There are no kids, there's no distraction, the TV's off or lightly in the background. But important that you have this conversation and start to get on the same page with your spouse about your observations. All right. Now, if you have to use this episode and this list to reference, by all means, go ahead, share the link with them and listen together or listen on your own time and then come back together. My husband and I do this, especially when we see stuff like online, whether it's like an Instagram reel or something, or a podcast episode that one of us has listened to. We will forward the link or the video to one another just because we want to be on the same page about certain things or you want to bring it up to discussion. Now, we don't have lengthy discussions on all of these things and every single one, but some of them do strike up that conversation. And a lot of it because he's at work, and I'm doing my own thing or I'm at my job, we'll forward from text and the conversation will start through text. And for us, this has been working for over 10 years now, is that I find it easier for me personally to start the conversation through text, especially if it's an emotional one, because if I want to get something out and I'm already heightened, I'm already emotional, I'm able to write the facts. This is what I feel. This is what I observe. This is how you're making me feel. All those things through text without him hearing it out of my mouth. And vice versa, when he texts back and I receive it, I don't get distracted by the way he says it, whether he's, I don't know, using a tone that I'm not appreciating or not wanting to tolerate. You know what happens? I can just read it as is. We'll have long conversations like that. And I will even say stuff like, I don't understand. What do you mean by this? And, he'll explain. And oftentimes it helps to calm me because I'm just looking at the facts. And then knowing that and having long conversations like that through text, sometimes it's through email. When we do see each other, we touch base. And there has been some distance since that heightened time where we had time to absorb and like reflect and come back to the ground. We have a better conversation about it. And sometimes some clarification about, hey, I didn't understand this. I didn't understand that. Like, oh, I didn't understand. I'm sorry. This is what I meant, or this is how it sounded, right? This is how we've been functioning for the past 10 plus years, like I just said. And we've been married now 18 years. So I guess we're doing something that works for us. I'm not saying that this will work for you guys, but I just want to show you a piece of what works for me, what works for us. And hopefully this helps to spark something with you guys. Now, bottom line out of all of this is to have a conversation with your spouse. And oftentimes it's not just one time, one and done thing. It could be several conversations, long conversations, but it's basically just to take time for one another, to be there and to listen, actively listen. I told this to a client also, that when I have conversations with my husband and I'm feeling very emotional, I will tell him, this is what I need from you. I don't need you to problem solve. I just need you to listen. And that works. That helps. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope this episode was helpful to you into picking the things that, just highlighting things, I guess like a reminder for you that if something does resonate or strikes a chord, to have meaningful conversations with your spouse, because this is about you guys, your unit, your core, and showing up as a united front with the kids will only make them and their future a lot more solid. They'll feel more confident about knowing how to navigate relationships in the future, how to just leave your home a little bit more equipped and more confident. So thank you so much for tuning in once again. Don't forget to like and subscribe from wherever you're listening or watching this episode. And I will see you next time. Have a great day and a great rest of the week. Bye-bye.